just avoiding it because it's pricey. Here we are.
Why do you want to? Well, then let's talk about that. Like, why do you avoid
Because
the
not
topic of pricing?
because not everybody agrees on this one. People get all bent out of shape about this one.
Who's the people?
Other artists.
Other artists get bent out of shape.
Because this was a hard one for me to even sit with. And yes, other artists get bent out of shape. And I'm not telling other artists how to do their business. You do your business however suits you. I just, this is what I've come to.
Well, then maybe do we want to talk a little bit about how you got to where you are on the pricing?
Oh. Well, I used to sell paintings. I used to do portraits for $50 to $100, and I was cranking them out like I was some kind of printer robot. And guess what? I learned I'm not a printer robot, and that I can't crank out paintings like that, and that I need room to actually be able to create. So I stepped away from that ecosystem, from commissions of portraits. I learned there. I learned a lot there. I also sold paintings really cheaply. People who've bought paintings from me back 2009 through 2014 probably got a hell of a deal. And I hope you still have those paintings, because they, at the prices I'm at now, people might actually be interested to see those resurface. A lot of those people, I didn't keep their information. I wasn't doing art full time. I was learning and building my skill. And although I loved creating, I didn't see it as a serious avenue or mechanism to make money, like a stable one. And it's because I wasn't charging enough. Like, I was literally, it's like you create a thing and it's supposed to be a business. I was treating it like a hobby. And because of that, I never had enough money to buy my supplies. I never had enough money to get away from my corporate job. And I was creating, but at some point it was miserable. It was like, I felt like I owed everybody art, and I was creating just to get everybody the pieces that I owed them. And honestly, I had no money from it. And it was like I was burying myself in my favorite thing, and I was starting to hate the favorite thing. So I don't want to do that again. I unburied myself out of it. And then I started to think about it differently going forward, with help of people who were like, hey, maybe this is why it was really hard. Maybe you should rethink this. And it took me years to do that, because art is such an emotional thing, and you tie yourself to it and you want people to want it. But it's also like selling a part of your soul. And are you going to sell your soul to the cheapest bidder? Or are you going to actually say, no, this is valuable to me. You should value it. Here's what I value it at. If you pay that, then by all means, have it. Because I know you value it. You value my time and my skill. So yeah, that's where I'm at with pricing. Now, do we actually want to get into the dollar amounts of it? Because here's where people get angry.
Well, I mean, we can just get into it and what's the dollar amount, and why? Right?
Well, I started with what I raised my prices enough in, I want to say 2015, 2016, to where I felt I should be. And that is what we removed emotion from the pricing, because I was pricing emotionally, and I realized that by not pricing consistently, I was doing a disservice to myself and everyone around me, anybody who bought my work. So from 2014, I started pricing at $3 per square inch. And that price steadily increased over the years as the cost of living and the cost of supplies and the cost of creating art went up. I chose that price because literally Art Price Guide online said that was a standard rate, and it made sense for the amount of pieces I was creating versus what I was selling. And business was like, I sold a lot of pieces. So I determined this is where I'll be. And I stayed there for a while until demand increased, and my price and my cost of living and my price increased with it. And I warned everybody at the next phase of this year, the prices are going up. And now I'm at $6 a square inch. So from 2014, this is 2022, I'm at $6 a square inch. And the price only continues to go up as the cost of living increases and the cost of supplies and life. And I spend longer on paintings now. I think.
Well, I think also there's another key component, which is that price increase also then bundled in the delivery and delivery experience.
Yes. Yes. When I chose to do the delivery experience different, to include the delivery experience, the price of art went up. Instead of just going up $1 that year, it went up a few dollars. And I've kind of sat at that 6 for a couple of years because of everything that happened in COVID with not doing art for a while. So I haven't really raised it since then, even though the cost of living my life, I know for everybody, has doubled. So has supplies and everything else. But I've kind of kept it there, and it'll stay there until I notice another big shift or growth or change. And I'll warn everybody. I'll give everybody 3 months warning. So buy art now before the price continues to go up.
Why don't you have sales?
Oh, because I'm an art collector myself. I've bought art from somebody and then 2 weeks later seen they're doing a sale, 50% off fire sale, and I'm like, how fucking tacky. I just spent twice the price that everybody else is spending. How is that fair? Why is it this price today, but last week it was twice the price? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Excuse my language. It's tacky. Art is not a commodity. Don't treat it like it's some item in Walmart and we're having a Black Friday sale. I mean, I hate Walmart. Oh wait, I shouldn't say anything. Don't treat it like you're in a big box store. You're not a big box store, and you shouldn't be having Black Friday sales. It's just tacky. This isn't mass-produced crap. Is your soul worth $300 on Friday, but $600 last week? Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah. Do we want to talk about any of the behavior aspects of why you don't do sales?
Oh, because then people will just wait for a sale. They'll be like, when she's desperate enough and she hasn't been selling art for long enough, we'll just wait until she has one of them their sales and then we'll buy that art up. And also, there are people who do that. I know specific... I did years ago sell art half price to a finance guy, and he still waits. He reaches out when he sees me in Philly. He's like, whoa, will you sell this to me for 50% off? And I told him, never again. That hurt that I did that day. I will never do that again. I learned a lesson. Desperation will never make me do sales. That's stupid. And it hurts everybody who's bought art from me at full price. Because I've had it happen to me. And yeah, that's a crappy feeling. You're like, oh, so they're getting a deal because they're your friend, or because this Friday you've decided to have a sale? But last week, I was just unlucky, the unlucky person to decide to support you at full price. Okay, cool.
So would it be fair to say that the current pricing also is built such that you won't be in a position to have to do sales, and therefore past collectors can feel confident in the value of money that they spent?
Yes. I'm being consistent and not emotional.
And then future collectors can also feel confident in their purchase.
Yes, knowing that I only increase my art in value. If I want to be emotional, I'll do it in the artwork, not in my business model.
I think that's fair. I think that's a very fair statement there, right? Like if you're, yeah. I think
artists are very emotional creatures, but I don't think we should be in the business model. You got to separate those two things, the art and the business.
No, I think it's an interesting way to look at it, right? Like if your art is a reflection of emotion into it, and if emotion has a finite amount, right? Like there's probably to a certain degree a finite amount of emotion that you have available. And so then to waste, or to place, not necessarily waste, but to place that emotion into these surrounding elements of your business, like pricing and sales and stuff like that, that gets that detracts. It does some sort of subtraction from the emotion then that goes into the art.
Yes. Yes. Just like artists shouldn't tie themselves emotionally to whether they should be creating based on sales, artists shouldn't emotionally be tying their price and their business model to sales. It will kill your poor little artist heart, and it will make you undervalue yourself.
I think that's a lot of projecting and
Okay.
assuming how things are for others.
Well, I can tell you
Right.
how it is for me. I can't
Correct.
emotionally tie my
No.
business model to my creative process.
Yeah.
Those two things are separate entirely.
Yeah, I think that, to sit down and to say that other people's pricing models, they may just have different emotional reservoirs available to them to handle those
I just don't.
those pricing models, whereas you don't. You don't have the emotional reservoirs
No.
available.
It all goes into the work.
Yeah.
The art is the creative emotional space that it's allowed to be, and the business that I have to untie all emotional from the business, from the price, from whether or not sales are happening, because otherwise it'll hurt my ability to create and to be authentic with what I'm creating and what I'm sharing.
Yeah, yeah. So we've talked a little bit about how it allows you to the pricing allows you to survive, live, and then also allows you to have pricing people that have confidence in their purchases in the past or coming in the future. One of the other things that sort of sits here at a juxtaposition with this is the size of work that you tend to do. You don't
I've only been getting bigger and bigger over the years.
right